All right. So the first thing we're gonna go is to show you my desktop. Where is it? Oh God. There you go.
Siempre hay que echarle la culpa a alguien.
There you go. Okay. This is a Figment design site. So what we use is WordPress, which is a CMS. Whenever you hear CMS, is Content Management System. What? No, I'm recording on my computer. Okay. And Cello, you're muted.
Take two.
Yeah, take two. All right, thanks for the interruption, Cello. We're still recording. All right. It's a content management system because it's easier to manage actual content, whether instead of actually going in and coding everything line by line with actual codes. So it's an easier way for everyone to just go in and edit it. So the first thing you do is, since it's WordPress, at the end of any main URL, when I say main, it's not like the work page. It's gonna give you, this is not the main URL. The main URL will be that one. All right. So on the main URL, you can put /WP admin, which stands for WordPress administration. All right. So once you're there, this is customized. Usually it doesn't look like this, but they give you the login. You hit OK, you log in, and then what you see here is the settings or the admin panel. This is very, very, this one has a lot more admin stuff than they usually do, just because every time you add a plugin, it should go in here, like the Instagram feed. We have WP File Manager, and all these are extra plugins. All right. Now, also, besides the WordPress, there's something that they call hosting and a domain name. You might get confused whenever they're like, oh, okay, you need to buy a domain name. Okay, I got my domain name, but what about the hosting? And it's like, oh, I thought the domain name was the hosting. You know, the domain name is this URL. Like, let's say the name of your site. That's what everyone calls it. It's either domain name or URL. Now, the other thing you need to do is that once you have this website needs to live on the internet. So that's where the hosting comes in. So you're gonna put this along with all the files, all the little programs that it needs to run on a computer that's always running on the internet. Okay, that's called the hosting. Usually we use Bluehost, we use WP Engine. Those are hosting providers. Okay. Most of the hosting also, they do give you options to buy a domain name. So you do all in one place, like GoDaddy. All right, although I don't recommend hosting with GoDaddy. All right, so once we log in, we have here our pages and our posts. Usually that's the two big things that WordPress was known for. Everyone thought that WordPress was just a blog and they only use posts, but then they started understanding the power of a CMS, and they're like, well, we can put pages and we could put articles and we could put more and more and more, and WordPress became like a little standard of how to set up a website and run it. All right, so let's see. After that, once we have a WordPress site, we need to add a theme. This is another big thing that WordPress has, that it allows you to easily go in and change the look of a site. So you can go to just regular WordPress or a corporate site. See, these are all themes. This is a look that you buy, like a pre-built website that you can go in and see if you like it. It's like, oh yeah, I like this specific look of a site. And it already comes packaged. You install it and it runs like just like this example. And then you go in and change the copy and titles and stuff like that. Now, the one we used, it's a Pro Admin, which is a plugin, a theme that we found that it worked very well with other plugins. A lot of times they don't work right one with the other. Probably you install a slider plugin and then a color plugin and then a typography plugin, and they don't work right. We found that this one works very good. It was stripped down, cleaned, made sure that it works very, very well with almost all the plugins, with all the sliders that we use. And that's why I say we're all spoiled here in Figment, because we're used to having this and doing everything custom on our site and everything's working. Not every theme works like that. A lot of times when we find a theme, we got to go in and ask the actual creator of the theme, hey, can you make this work for this specific plugin? And we got to, well, since we purchase from them, they actually go in and help us. That's part of the service. So the one that we use is a Pro Admin. This we can change to whatever name, you know, we can change it to Figment theme. Usually when we give this to clients, we change this to the client's name theme. All right. So the first thing we're gonna do is just editing content. How do we go in? First thing is that once we're in a site, we have this little panel here called the admin bar, and you can edit wherever you're at. So if you're on a blog, it's gonna say edit blog post. If you're in a, let's see, where was in work, we're using a plugin called case studies. So it's gonna tell you, oh, do you wanna edit this case study? If we go to the news, it's gonna tell you, do you wanna edit this post? So the admin bar makes it very simple. You don't really need to navigate the admin bar to do any edits on your site. So for now, let's go to just, let's pick the services page. That one's an easy one. All right, let's say we want to add copy or edit copy here and just add another picture. Let's put that to the side. We would normally go to the page, we edit the page. And right now, this isn't really what WordPress looks like. Normally WordPress looks like this or like that. This is just a plugin that we added to make it very easy to visualize what edits we're doing. That way, this is what I studied and I kind of started understanding and coding. But then little by little, plugins came in and, oh, now it's more visual, and now it's even more visual.
What's it called? Backend editor? Is that what it is?
Oh, this backend edit, it's a plugin called Visual Composer.
Okay, that's a Visual Composer.
Yeah, or WP Bakery, which is when you get the plugin itself. But we at Figment here, we always use the Visual Composer. That way it's very easy to manage and to actually visualize what's going to happen later on when you publish the site. All right, you see here, everything, it's a little plugin that you work with. Mostly you're going to either work with rows, text block, single image, or gaps. Right now, we started using gaps less and less. We're using something called an empty space. When here you can search for it. The advantage between gap and empty space is that empty space lets you do EMs. So normally gaps is only pixels or percentages. This is going to create a gap between your content. So if you want an extra space between we love what we do, let's actually see the page. Let's load it. Okay, you see that there's a gap here and a gap below here. So there's a 40 pixel gap on the bottom and on the top. And you can see it here. There's a 40 pixels. So there's an invisible gap. Normally it would be coded, but at least here you can see it visually of what's happening. Oh yeah, that stayed there, sorry. Now, the advantage between a gap and using now EMs is that EMs, when you go to mobile, they will scale down normally. Meaning that whenever I'm here and I'm going to mobile, that 40 pixel gap, it either has to be coded in mobile and telling it, hey, listen, just shrink it. Or if you're using the empty space with EMs, it'll scale proportionally to the text. So that's why we're using now empty spaces with EMs. All right, so whenever we're editing copy, it's very simple. You can just hit the edit button. And over here, you got two options. You can edit it in visual, meaning that probably designer should have been designer, not designers, even though it's wrong, but you know. Or you can do it here, which is very clean text. If you see here, this is the text view. It's also the coding view that we can go in and add special codes. We can add this code. The visual view is never going to give you that. It's just going to show you what you're going to see visually at the end. So normally, instead of giving the justify here, we would give it down here in the classes. This is where we actually start coding and putting classes to everything. But let's bring that back to normal. Once you're done editing this section, you can just save changes and it's going to save it. Now, if you want to add a paragraph or just duplicate it, you can just easily duplicate the entire thing, edit it, and if probably you want a gap between those two, let's see, what gap did it give it? See, right now it didn't give any gap. Probably you would want to give it a little gap. You can duplicate gap, go in here, for like 10 pixels, preview again, and it gave you about the same spacing that you already have. You can even give it more or less. And let's say that's it for adding and editing copy. If you want to put a picture, you have a few options. You can go in here and add media. It's going to be a little bit dirtier way of doing it. So you can just drop an image right there. This extra thing, that's good that happened. All right. Let me just delete the entire thing and show you what happened there. This is because of the compliance settings that we have, meaning that people that are blind, this is gonna let them know on the reader that, hey, this is an image. You can't really see it. It doesn't have any purpose. It's just a regular image, blah, blah, blah. Well, let's say you want to add an image there. Let's add that one and put it. You need to click here to tell it this is just a decoration. So it's just an image. So the reader will understand. You can align it left. You can link an image if you want to. And then once you hit OK, it'll add it there. You can hit save. And this is what you see. So it's very simple to add content using Visual Composer once everything is coded and everything is working right. The big issue is setting up how the page responds to you, meaning telling the content to justify. So you see that the entire content is justified instead of center, telling it, okay, this is a title. That's where the coding comes in. All right. I'm sorry, you were muted. Okay, you're still muted.
So the templates that you get, you still have to do all the coding.
Yes, because if you get a template, a theme from someone, and they're like, well, change this to this, change this to that. If you use it as is, it's going to be very easy and you can just go in and edit. But if they want something custom to their specific brand, yes, there is always some sort of coding.
Even let's say to change the color of the font.
Yeah. You can do it manually, but for example, if they tell you, well, just change the color of this one title in this one page, yes, you can just go in and tell it, okay, this thing right here is going to be X color. So you still need to code it, but let me see.
I think this one you could change it there. In some cases, you could change them there.
No, you can. It's just that sometimes we do manually override stuff. See?
Yeah.
In here, you can change it for this one page, this one time. But what happens when they tell you, oh, can you change all the titles on all the inside pages? Well, that's where the actual setup for the coding comes in. We're going to need to go to either the admin, meaning that we're editing the actual theme already. And over here, on the styling options, we can go in and tell it, okay, all the main colors are going to be this color. All text color is going to be this color. Now, we usually override this in the CSS, meaning that if you go to the main CSS of the site, which is here, this is where the coding takes place for us. This is all the setup. You know, we're telling it, okay, the uppercase, the scroll, whenever you click something and it scrolls very smoothly, this is where we coded it. Justify, that you saw all the copy, says justify. Body, H tags, these are the titles. We're pretty much declaring how this is going to behave throughout the site. And if you want to override it, you can override it per page. You can also override it in mobile. So the mobile layout should be somewhere down here. See? All this is mobile stuff. I think that's, yeah. Anything down here, it's mobile, that whenever we move the site into a size that's considered mobile, you're going to react this way instead of the regular way that we're also declaring up here. All right. In here, while we're here, this is where we add the Google Analytics. So tracking codes and anything we can track. We can even track. I think someone put a back. Yeah, they put a backup for all the styling here. It doesn't matter. In here, we add the favorite icon, favicon, meaning that little thing up here. Is that? You can change it, edit it. The logo, since this is a very custom look to the site, it overrides that. So we don't really need to put it here. In here, we tell it what theme, what size the theme is taking. So you see that usually we always pick the largest one and we'll work from there, but you can pick, these are the most used sizes out there. All right, see, in here you can put either the Pro admin or you can put Figment admin. In here we can put, oh, we should change this to 2020. Actually, I think we overrode that one too. Yeah, we don't even have it. Should we have a copyright on our site?
I think so.
Yeah. All right, we should add it there. Anyway, that's it for that. Let me actually go to the actual responsive look. How do we set it up? So another thing that we do easily, thanks to Visual Composer, is that we can also visualize what we're going to see in mobile. So if we go here and we want to say, okay, we're going to show this in desktop. But for example, in mobile, I don't want to show this icon. Or for example, I want to show a different title for mobile. We can duplicate the entire column, which this is what we did for Coconut Bay shadow. And let's say we're not gonna have that image because we're gonna put another one, and this is gonna say for mobile service. All right, now once we have that, we're gonna tell this entire column is only gonna be responsive options, is only gonna be seen on the phone when it's vertical, not horizontal. So we're gonna hit save. And then we gotta tell it, okay, this section over here, we only wanna show it. Wait, I did it wrong. Yeah, there you go. We wanna show it there. Let me double check. Yeah, I did it right. So we're gonna preview the changes. All right, so as you see here, we got that view. And then when we go to mobile, you see that it says a full mobile service. So that's how we switch easily. Of course, there's always issues here and there. We would have to, whenever a designer tells us, oh, can we make this go on top? Then we got to code, we got to tell it, okay, this specific title, when it's that long, we got to give it a special class and tell it, okay, shrink a little bit or increase the size a little bit. That way there's no one word on the bottom. Again, there's other ways of testing mobile. We can do inspect and select the mobile view.
Is there a way that you could, like, on the picture, on the background picture, tell it to like focus on this section, and like when you resize, you know, it resizes like center to the picture, or instead
Like to anchor the photo.
Yeah, to anchor in a certain place.
Yes and no. We can
Okay.
anchor it only to the left, right, or center.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that we have issues with is with resolutions. They don't work. Like I said, this is an easy fix for mobile, but it's not an exact. Because, for example, when we're here in iPhone 10, but then we're dealing with a Pixel 2, you see how it changes. And then we're dealing with this one. And that this is specifically how we got to look at it. Mobile is not really one size. Mobile is a lot of different sizes, and we got to make it work to the best of our abilities, or you find the, like right now, we got to find usually the most popular one and work around that. We got to work definitely on the iPhone and on the Pixel and Galaxy. Anything else we kind of ignore because it's such a little group of people that have it that it's going to look right either way. But yeah, let me find here. We did something similar to what you're asking with Pure Grenada. And it was with all the sliders. We had to go little by little and escalate the sizes to each one of those pictures. Every single one in every different resolutions, we had to go in and one by one make it look right on all of them. And that was an issue. We shouldn't be doing that because that is a lot of time, a lot of testing. Not only because of that, but because they also wanted not only a slider, they also wanted a video. So we had to do it twice, for videos, for sliders, and on top of it for a hovering image. So that it looks pretty, it looks awesome, but it's a lot of time. So we got to always keep all those little things in mind, that when we're doing mobile, it's not really just one resolution. Definitely it's really hard for designers because we can make it look right, but then it will be also a lot of time to make it look right for every single resolution. It's crazy. It would be, it will more than quadruple the workload because you're technically designing a few sites. So let me not save this page because it's live. And that was how we would switch the responsive look. Usually also when someone tells you to clone a page or duplicate a page, there's really no way of duplicating a page. We actually had to install a plugin to actually go in here and clone it. So once you clone it, the entire page is cloned. Let's go find that page. So we will clone it and it automatically goes to draft. So in draft, you don't see it, but you can go in, and that's how we do test pages. Then we got to go in and delete it. Now we end up with 100 different draft pages. The next one will be like posts. Posts are treated the same way as pages. The only issue is that Visual Composer does not play nice with posts. So we have to do it the old-fashioned way. If you turn on Visual Composer, which we disabled for posts, but sometimes it lets you turn it on, it'll mess up because the rows don't work right, especially when you go here. When you go to the news, just because it's pulling information from there, in here is where it gets messed up because it's trying to get codes from the Visual Composer to run here. Another edit for posts when you create them, it's very easy. You always got to remember to add the featured image because that's what's going to show up on the post stream. So a lot of times, a lot of people just finish the post and it's not showing on the other side. Also, whenever you're doing a permalink, make sure that this reflects either the title or a condensed title, because a lot of times the titles of the page are up to here. So we gotta make sure that you can edit this and make it look right. Also in here, you select a category. Probably you have multiple categories. You gotta click on each one. You can add tags to search them easily. And in here, the cool thing is that we have Yoast, which is another plugin, but this is the SEO part, what Google's gonna be looking at. So in here, what you can do is edit, and you can start putting the information here. So you see the title, page separator, title. So in here is the slug of the page and the metadata. I'm not gonna mess with anything of this, just, I don't want Juan screaming at me. But this is how Google's gonna see it. So this has to be optimized, and it's a really cool plugin because it tells you how good it is with this green bars, yellow and red bars. Another thing is that if there's a page that you don't want Google to find, this plugin lets you do it really easy. Allow search engines to find you? No, you can set it up there. And should the search engine follow your link to on this post? No. You know, you don't want anything going in or out from this page. So this is a really cool tool that we use a lot, especially when we're testing pages out that have to go live because the client doesn't have a login. And here we can do revisions, meaning that if we mess something up, we can go back to the previous save version. And that's it for that. We're gonna go to headers because Visual Composer and this theme specifically lets you set up headers. So you can have multiple types of headers. If you see, we have one type of header here, but then when we go to this page, we have a different type with all different navigation and everything. So we have an entirely different header look. Now, one of the limitations is that you can only do headers for desktop. You can't do it for mobile. There's only one mobile look. What you can do is what I did here, which was disable the mobile look for this page using CSS. So in here, I disabled it and I left the regular menu here. So we can navigate through here. All right, the same can be said for the footer. We can set up multiple footers as well. Then again, everything has its limitations. So footers, it's gonna give you a certain amount of, let me go to a medical footer. It's gonna give you a certain amount of columns, and the spacing is very, very important here. So you'll see that the spacing is based on the Visual Composer theme layout. Changing the spacing here, what happens between each column, it's a global change. If we don't do a global change, we're gonna have to create a very big change telling the theme itself, change the way you work. That's usually what we don't wanna do. A lot of time, I think Orestes did 2 different versions that we usually use. Like for example, in here, if you just want to add another column, right now we're in 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. We can go to 1/5 everything. And the top is 1/6. Anything after that, it doesn't exist because you're already breaking what the theme allows you to do. So if we update this, we go to the page. You'll see that everything's squished so that it allows 2 more columns to exist there. Now, since this is based on a decimal, sometimes we can, sometimes we can't give it this one just a little bit extra. And then, for example, we can do 2/4 and then, no, 2/5 and then 1/5, 1/5, 1/5. That might work. So for custom, for example, we can give this one 2/5 and then 1/5, 1/5. All right. So this is pretty much all I can do. Anything past that, I need to play with those numbers I was given to actually move this back and forth. I think put it back. Oh God, I can't change it back. Okay, there you go. All right, that's headers and footers. I think that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna show you the rest of how it looks rather than an explanation. So this is where the plugins are. You see this, our website is very heavy on plugins. And another site, let's see, this site has a lot of plugins, but you'll see that it doesn't have nearly anything compared to what we have. So, oh, okay, never mind. It has a lot as well. Oh God, I messed up. Yeah, maybe this one. Okay. I just want to show you that you don't really need that many. Ooh, the guys need a lot of updates. Anyway, so this page we did recently, and this means that they just need to update the plugins. Since we handed a page, it'll still run. It's just the plugin came with an extra update. That's it. No issue. So you see here that even though this page is fairly new and it's very nice and it has everything we need, you don't need a lot of plugins. We just test all our plugins, especially when we have Gravity Forms and we're running price checks and we're running Stripe and other types of plugins. Sometimes it's not one plugin that you need to install. Probably you need to install 4 or 5, 6 different plugins to make this one functionality work. So the other place, pretty much to go through this really quickly, is the media library. This is where you drag in any picture you need to add to the page. You can do it from a page, or if you have a whole bunch of pictures, you can do it through here. And finally, we have the slider, which is when we add sliders, we add videos, we add really cool pictures to the pages. This is where we do it. This can be a tutorial unto itself just because of all the things you can do. We try to put this separate just because of, again, the responsive look. You can move it around. It's like, okay, in tablets, it's gonna look like this, but then in mobile, it's gonna look like this. And it's giving you lines here of what it looks like, the edges of a mobile device. So you can move it around. And do you guys have any questions?
I'm ready to build like 20 websites.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Do it.
So yeah, this was more of an intro so that when a client asks you, oh, your company has all the links and all the control of my website. Can you go in and I just need one dot or one letter changed? And if no one else can do it, probably you can just go in and at least test it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Cool, man.
So yeah, that's it, guys.
Awesome.
Is that what you were saying, that it would have been helpful for us to know, like for more people to know, to help you do updates for Pure Grenade and stuff like that, or not for that?
Yeah. Ariel did a whole bunch and he went way beyond this. He actually learned how to copy headers and templates and extra things that normally, you know, he wouldn't have to do. But he actually learned how to even set up coding and understand how to do those.
You can put that in his application.
Yeah.
Web designer.
Yeah.
Web.
I invented web design.
Programmer.
Robertico, so when we go to Theme Forest to look for a template for a client and just look for ideas, what are things that we have to look?
Yeah. One of the things I was talking with Ariel about this, and this was very helpful to talk to him before this, was that, for example, our theme is incredibly flexible and it's already tested, especially with the extra plugins that usually clients ask for. Our theme is tested to work right, not crash the site. Anytime you update it, it works. You know, most of the times when you go to Theme Forest, this theme is WYSIWYG. You know, what you see is what you get. Anytime a client wants to change something, it's custom work. So we got to go in and customize something that was already specifically created by someone. We got to customize something that's customized.
If you have to look for one, you just gotta make sure, from what Orestes is always telling me, to look that it works with Visual Composer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. One of the things right now, because this theme and Visual Composer is so flexible, we can do it, but again, we gotta, anytime a client would ask something custom, to go above and beyond. Like for example, Pure Grenada wanted those tabs. And then the tabs that we didn't like them, so we wanted one that faded. Good thing we were using this theme and we tested it fairly quickly. And yes, this plugin worked perfectly with that theme. But if it was a theme that we didn't know, the testing would have been a lot longer because we would have to test it on every page, make sure that every plugin doesn't interfere with one another. And that's why I say, you know, I was telling Ariel that probably you can find a theme in Theme Forest and we can customize it to this particular theme.
Yeah, no, what I want to know is like what restrictions do we know we have, or what do we have to work with? Like there is, like we can look at that on Theme Forest and see what capabilities we have, but how can we see it here? We just basically have to ask you guys.
Yeah, because for example, we have this thing called Kaswara, which is a plugin we installed, and just that one thing has like 200 little things and little demos inside. So just one of the things, let's see, a carousel slider. That Kaswara has this,
That's pretty
You
cool.
know, you can make all this extra things, you know, with just that one plugin, one little functionality of that one plugin.
So we can explore this.
That
We
Yes,
should
and
be exploring this because what I think.
yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sometimes though, I think, right, Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, that sometimes those icons, like let's say for instance the little arrows, sometimes they could be customized, sometimes they can't.
Yeah.
Like it'll come with the plugin that you could go ahead and update it, I guess, have a variation of arrows, but then there's some that you just can't. That's the arrow you have, and you could possibly change the color.
Yeah, I mean, one, especially when we get this plugins working. I mean, I haven't gone through every single function of every single plugin that this one plugin has, because it's a lot. And a lot of times it's like, well, we gotta either figure it out, but if the client is adamant that they want that little arrow, we'll try to customize this one plugin to have those arrows. That's a little bit extra time because we gotta go into the code, find in the code where they put that one specific arrow and replace it. And if we can't do it like that, then we gotta go find an entirely different plugin, test it on the side to see if it works. And on top of that, then test it to see if it gives them the same functionality, probably the same animation. And after that, then put the little arrow that the client wanted. So a lot of times it'll eat up a lot of time doing that.
No, and at the same time, and not to go too far ahead, but it also benefits, I guess, the client in a sense to sort of not customize it as much, because later down the road, things do need to get updated. The thing needs to get updated, everything. And once that happens, it could crash and sort of revert to the original design.
Yeah, that has happened a lot of times, that when you have to, it gets to a point that a plugin just stops working just because it's so far behind the newest one that it just doesn't work until you update it. When you update it, all that extra custom things that you did, it's gonna erase it. So all that work, it just erased, no backup, no anything, it erased. And the client's gonna be like, wait, what happened with my awesome little arrows? It's like, oh, I don't know, let's see. You know, oh, the plugin was updated, so we gotta go in and customize it again.
That's something that we can stipulate when the client is requesting it. Like, we should just be able to tell them, listen, we can go that far, but mind you, this could happen in the future.
Yeah.
So at least we prevent them from doing that.
Definitely. Also, the disclaimer that we send is like, well, once we give the hand in the site, if you guys break it, that's on you.
Yeah, we need to get it. I mean,
we-
all these precautionary things, whenever we know that something could happen, I think we should always, even if it's redundant, whatever it is, annoying, I think we should, because that I didn't know.
Yeah, like for example, Pure Grenada, the second they handed the website, we're like, okay, we're done. I gave them the walkthrough. We talked to them. A day later, they're like, the navigation broke. I'm like, okay, we can go in and fix it.
Didn't break.
You guys are,
You broke it.
you know, it's like I'm pretty sure I gave it to you working because we had a whole video and we recorded it, so I can see it here. It's working fine, and I handed it to you. A day or two later, it's broken. So we went in and fixed it, and it was a CSS thing. So those are the little things that we need to prevent ourselves, you know, protect ourselves. It's like, hey, once we hand this in, all that extra custom things that we advise you from, once they break, we're not responsible, because we told you, you know, you're responsible also to updating your plugins.
So
now, when the client is a
whenever a
retainer,
warning arises and we're not aware as designers or account managers or anything like that, will be, I mean, give us the flag, like, so we can advise the client. Yeah, we can do this, but.
Yeah, one of the things that we can do is start finding those, like a little template, and create a test site with everything like this with our theme. And we can be like, okay, pricing between this and this website, their budget is this, so we should use these tools. Like, for example, if we're doing the resort site, okay, this is the look and feel of the site. Anything inside, if we're doing a form, we don't need to design a form. We just use, like, yeah, you're gonna have name, blah, 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 just give us the field, and it's gonna be there. I'm not gonna make a look and feel, because that would be like a premium website that they get a design per page. You know, they shouldn't get a design of all the inside pages unless they're a premium, awesome account that they got time to spend. You know.
Yeah, they get what they pay for it. Even though we want to produce like good material, if they pay for McDonald's, they are not getting like stone crab, you know?
Yeah, and it's a lot of things that we can save in designing, and then we can build the site. And then if they want something prettier, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we can do it. You got enough time. We can spruce this up, this inside page, because you want to focus more on probably the contact us page. And it's like, oh, can you make the forms look prettier? Well, yeah, you got time. Another thing that could happen is like, well, they're designing, we designed the contact form. Imagine designing a contact form for X client that, you know, rhymes with Ari, you know, and if he keeps changing his mind, or the company, one day they say one thing, it's approved. Okay, let's design it. Okay, no, they want to change it again. You know, they're eating up so much time in the design, and we haven't even made the website.
Damn, I still haven't connected the dots.
I know, I'm like,
No say. Anyways, like for example, for like work, you know, they wanted to see the form and
Oh
all that
God, you
stuff.
connected it. Shut up.
Oh, that was
Gary,
it?
he said Ari.
Oh, the name of
Gary.
the person. All right. Anyways, yeah, they wanted to see the form and stuff. I mean, should I just put on the design form goes here, and like that they don't see the design of the form? It's just they know that that's the form is gonna go there, and just gotta give us the fields, or
I mean, specifically for that landing page, having it rounded and all that extra fancy stuff.
right.
The good thing is that we had that extra plugin. But if Worth is paying for it and they got enough time, and yes, we should design forms like that, like we did. But for example, if we're doing a site that's a cheapo site or cost efficient site, you know, let's not call it cheap. We shouldn't design forms. We should be like, okay, they want name, address, email, and
So
then it's
is it
gonna
like-
be easier.
Like when we send our design files, we should just put like, you know, form goes here or something.
No,
and
just
that's
have
it.
a basic. No, you can just go find a basic form. It's square.
People get caught up on it, man. They'll start looking at it and they'll be like, try to break it down. Oh no, I don't like this. Can you add this?
No, exactly.
I think if we
Like,
don't show it
listen,
at all, it's probably even better.
I think what
Definitely.
helps, I think, sorry to interject people, but I think there's something I was discussing with Robert, that what we can do is also have a disclaimer, you know, that, you know, not everything is going to look exactly the same. There's like,
Right.
there's going to be some adjustments here and there.
Right.
And I think that would help as far as that goes.
It's just like a preview.
yeah, like we can have them like, okay, a square form, square form, square form, square. You know, little,
Keep it,
something
like,
very
simple like that.
simple like that, and it's form, and they
Right.
can be like, can we do it like this because we already have a view? But if we give them like premium form right off the bat, and then it's like, oh, okay, you know, these people aren't paying that much, we shouldn't show them a premium form, because that would be this form. If we take out the background and the fancy font and the hover effect, you know, it should have taken 15 minutes to make. But since we did a background, we need to test it. We need to do a special padding. Whenever you roll over, it lights up. You know, that's the difference between a 15-minute form and a 2-hour form. So
I mean, definitely we need to get into the hardcore habit of showing you and Orestes prior sending to the client to make sure like what will get the
and
to
it's
understand it better.
Yeah, and it all depends on what the budget of the client is. If we get a grand aisle and they're paying for really custom, really good things, yeah, definitely, hey, we're gonna spend all that and have it a really nice design, because yeah, we know the limitations. We've done it before. We know what the theme can do. You know, we're not gonna go crazy. I mean, you know, we're not gonna go custom every little thing. But you guys understand. You guys have worked on enough sites to know, okay, we had issues with this and it took a long time, versus if we put a very basic form, this is what it looks like. And the same with headers. You know what pure Grenada header was, and that was a headache just because of that little stupid wave. You know, and it looks awesome again, but this has to be on a premium site like it is. I mean, it is, but you saw that it was a lot of headaches to make it work on every single resolution. And it's little places here. Ooh, what happened here? Oh, okay. It's little things here and there that we can save time and still make it look right. And, you know, if we put a wave here, obviously this is going to go crazy and it's going to be insane to get to work with. So yeah, that was it. Pretty much any crazy things that you guys see, we can talk and we'll do a quick little test and give you like, oh, okay, this takes about this X amount of time to build. So it should be fine on certain clients, but then on other clients, we should save time not giving them the option of having that look.
I have a question. Let's say I have a picture here in a header. It fades into the background, right? Can that be more of a background image and not a header? Does that make sense? Like be part of the background?
Of the background of the
yeah.
site?
Yeah, as opposed to having a slider, can it be part of the background image?
It depends on how you go about it, because once you create a, for example, I did something like that.
Let's say it's just a static image. It's not rotating. It's not, you know, no other
Okay.
images. No.
This
no
is a
nothing.
background image.
Okay.
You see how I can't touch it?
Right.
Okay, this is the actual image that exists there.
Right.
I made it work with, oh God, almost closest. Okay, I made it work on mobile, and you see how it centers and I can put it on top. So something like that, what it took to make was that on Visual Composer, what I created was just, it needs a foreground image, first of all. So it does need an image there or something. Something has to be there for a background image to exist. And then on the row itself, it exists. But what's controlling the height, it's this, not the background image.
Right.
That was one of the issues. The same thing with Worth for the.
That's what I was talking about, because Worth, I'm going to start designing the
This is
website.
the background image.
Right.
And then this is the foreground, and this is controlling the height of this. So you see whenever we go to, oh God.
Because they like the look and feel, the landing page and all that stuff, and I'm going to start designing the website. So
yeah, we can have that for the header, not the entire site. Not like one big image for the site, because then.
No. Just the top part of the header.
Yeah,
that kind of fades into the white or whatever. Is that fine?
You want to animate the background?
No.
Just fades when, down.
Go to the landing page. Just what you did on the landing page. I was just wondering if instead of, I guess what you did with Grenada, just flatten the image, faded into the background.
You just have to make it different and mobile.
We fade this all the way to white.
Right. And Worth.
You just add the fade to the image.
Okay.
That was exactly the same thing we did here. You see this image and this image? This is two different sections.
Right.
So what we did is this blue, the last pixel matched the background color of here.
Right.
So it was like a fade in reverse, because then this, the last pixel here on the top, was the same color as this. So it faded all the way into white.
Cool.
So yeah, we can do that. It does take a little bit longer just because you need to be exactly to the hex. Even one little number or letter on the hex, you do notice it.
It was showed, yeah.
That's the one issue. You know, and Ariel and I had to go through this like hundreds of times to make sure that the last pixel matched this.
Well, with that one should be easy. It's black.
Wonder or wander?
No, they were all difficult.
Yeah. Cool, man.
All right. So yeah.
Very insightful. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
man. Appreciate your time.
All right, guys.
This was
Later
definitely a good intro.
Definitely, Robertico. Anything else that you think that you can teach us about this? Again, we're not gonna become experts from one day to another, but the more that we know, the better.
I think part of it is also start messing around with it. That's when
Yeah.
you're really gonna learn and
Yeah.
force yourself to
Yeah,
Do
the
it.
main thing is logging in, finding a page, hitting edit, and being able to change some copy.
Maybe we could create like, I don't know, can you create like a dummy site or a template or something that from another site, copy it, I don't know. And
Yeah, it'd be
just for
nice.
us to go in and mess around with it however we want, even if we mess it
I
up,
mean,
whatever.
well, I can duplicate one of these and call it temp.
Yeah, just
that way.
yeah,
You
like
guys can go
tutorial
in
or
and-
something, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, tutorial.
Yeah, that'll be
Cool, man.
nice. Good
Awesome.
idea.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, later on, probably Cello, we can have like little screen shares when I'm doing an edit for Coconut Bay or something like that. That way you see at least the process on the side, not even paying much attention, but at least you see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the email too.
Ay, sí, jode. Man, fuck. Sorry.
Cello, we're recording that. Damn.
Oh, consuelo.
Rewind.
No rewind.
Oh, cómo molesta esta señora de dudosa procedencia.
Okay. All right. All right, guys.
Latest, man. Appreciate it.
No
Bye,
problem.
Peeps. Thank you,
Thank you.
Robertitz.
Thank you, Rob.